CE looked like potentially, once again, the best team in the region. But right now they sit in a solid 3rd seed.
3rd seed it is, and let's take a look at the map table here. We see a ban on Towers of Doom by BTG, which is very smart. We're going to elaborate on that later. And we see a ban on Volskaya Foundry coming in from CE. So Brax is through, which could lead to a very interesting scenario if more games than 3 are being played here.
Let's find out. But for now, with BTG picking the map, it is going to be CE with the first pick of the series. And of course, the first 2 bans, as this is the triple ban rotation patch. And as such, 2 bans at the start, and then 1 in the middle for each team.
Just like in the previous series, by the way, guys, you will remember that BOE was the first battleground that we saw these teams face one another. And we're going to BOE yet again. It really seems to be one of the favorite battlegrounds of all the Chinese teams, which is quite unusual. I think in Europe and NA and Korea, we don't really see a lot of BOE necessarily as a first pick, because the map can sometimes become a little one-sided if one team gets a massive advantage on the Immortals. Immediately we see the Alarak ban, by the way, and if you know LLK and if you witnessed his performance on the Dahaka earlier, you will know that he can be a lethal Alarak, his best hero by far, his most played hero on BOE.
And now, though, here comes the Yorel and the Diablo. Very scary openers. 2 heroes who have a lot of disruption themselves. That does, unfortunately, lower the chances of that Alarak. Sorry, it is banned. Never mind. Thanks, Brain. But it does actually, opening up with the double frontliner, gives CE a little bit more flexibility. They also have an open up with a double frontline, another tank with slows, and a frontliner with slows.
Yeah, already we can see 2 extremely tanky frontlines, as you said. Yeah, I don't even know what's more sustainable at this point. Urel, of course, with the Ardent Defender and the heals and armor she can provide, depending on how you skill her. Then we have Blaze, of course, with the protection provided by the bunker. Mert and Diablo don't really have much that sets them apart in terms of tankiness either. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see who's going to bust out some of the tank crackers first here, right? Malthael could be a choice for Beyond the Game. More percentage damage being provided by Tychus as well. We've seen Beyond the Game play that hero twice, with 3 looking mighty good on him.
The deck came removed. Malfurion still available. Never mind. As CE removed the Malfurion pretty much instantly. So, supports. We're going to start dipping down. What else works on this map? Karazim, fantastic on this map because of his immortal race. Alexstrasza, we saw it earlier, uses a potential zoning tool. These are the 2 main ones. Rhaegar does also offer a little bit of immortal race potential along with Karazim, so those 2 both jump up in priority. And if not, pick up a good hyper carry and bring out the Uther and just hope you can power it. But now though, we're starting off BTG with an Alexstrasza and a Li Ming.
Yeah, you bring up the Uther. I really want to make a cause for both Uther and Auriel, actually, that in certain situations they can actually be pretty amazing. Auriel on this map with a lot of walls to maybe use the Detainment Strike with good value on, but I mean, the safer option, the more standard mainstream option for sure is, of course, the Karazim, right? Karazim, you drop that down, not only does it offer great protection and mobility, but also some pretty surprising, immortal damage with the Iron Fist sound in level 1. You can actually see the coach Zeron burrowing the headset from Wind for a moment so he could communicate with the rest of his team.
Yeah, and coaches usually have headsets, so I'm quite surprised. I guess in this case, just giving it a little bit of advice back and forth. The Karazim, great race. Not any extra slows. There are very few supports who actually do give extra slows these days. But it's good. Burst follow-up to Muradin engages. I think this might end up being a Palm Karazim, just due to the amount of burst Li Ming can offer. Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. Normally when there is a solo tank Diablo, let's say if the Irel had been swapped for Malthael, for example, then the 7-sided could have had great value with Diablo being super isolated after engaging. With the Irel, though, normally jumping into the fray as well, following the Diablo, she could absorb a lot of those 7-sided strikes, and as such, this heroic ability normally wouldn't get you much. And as Tetra said, the more burst damage the enemy team has, the more value a Divine Palm can have, right? Whereas against slower ticking damage, you sometimes drop it early and then just barely the damage will tickle through. So yeah, I like the Li Ming on the one hand, but I also like the Karazim as a response coming in here. In 365, this guy has shown us a lot of good Karazim play as of late.
And I also really like the response from BTG to that, though. Oh, our opponent has picked a very burst protecting support that requires their team to group up. guess I'll pick Thrall, because Crash Lightning, they already have a solo laner now. Now they're going to be on the 2-lane map, gaining stacks basically all the time. It's a pretty solid final choice here that if they're able to stack it quickly, which is a good chance they will, damage output could be pretty mental.
I agree. I think both teams have a very lethal, a very scary draft for BOE. It's all going to come down to how they protect, the backline here for CE. With that bunker, with the Karazim, everything is going to have to be on point, because the moment you don't pay attention to beyond the game, they're going to take your lives away. For now, though, for the first time introducing the blue team, known as Challenge CE, with a Lufol on that Phoenix, Wind on the Muradin, 365 on Karazim, KTY on Blaze, and Juyu is playing the Tychus.
And on the right-hand side, not running a Crash Lightning Thrall, surprisingly, we are going to see BTG with 619 on Diablo, LOK on Thrall, Druid on the Alexstrasza, Dancing on the Li Ming, and 3 is bringing out the Yrel.
All right, so as you said, it's going to be more of a, self-sustaining Thrall build, if you will, because you will have another instance of Chain Lightning, which can then proc, of course, your trait, the Frostwell's Resilience, a little bit more, rather than, this poke-heavy, damage-heavy Thrall build that would rely on Crash Lightning, which is oftentimes seen here in China still on these maps like BOE or Volskaya Foundry. Immediate damage coming into 619 with Tychus unloading his minigun.
We see the Wait and Clear very much superior for CE with that phased bomb and the Tychus overkill damage. Oof. So much quicker. LOK dropped actually pretty low. Pops the fountain, doesn't even go for the quick port. That is a good start. And before we get too much into the action, I would like to quickly request for anyone watching that we have more heroes-related jokes, because the one on Reddit this morning was gold. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
No, I haven't actually seen that. I didn't have the time to check it out.
Then allow me to read you. Oh, hang on. 619, a little bit of danger. LOK also low. This might be first blood. Dodges the Storm Bolt. But 365 picks up first blood. And nice kill. First blood acquired. And now, Kendrick, allow me to tell you a joke. How many space goats does it take to screw in a light bulb?
Oh, God. Do I really want to know the answer? I don't know, Tetra. Tell me.
You're relevant. They already stand together in the light.
Okay, I knew irrelevant was probably part of it, but I like it already.
Yeah, some more heroes-related jokes, please. Always welcome. Maybe we can get a thread. That's what we need. What's your best heroes-related joke? I'll make that after this stream if someone else doesn't beat me to it. In between this and Open Division, as we already see, with that mercenary camp being captured, CE decide to immediately leave the lane because they can already do their Fallen Shaman. They can just leave Muradin here to soak more than anything else. Now here's the question. Will KTY try to contest this despite not having vision of so many members of BTG?
Yep. Let's see if this mercenary camp will go over to BTG. Actually, they kick KTY back on the platform, but it doesn't even matter because there's no reinforcements for CE coming anyways. So stalling this mercenary camp out a little longer by accident, if you will, but Juyu as the only member nearby not really being able to do anything. Stormbolt lands on Tychus. The slows are good as well against LOK. I think this might actually be a dead Thrall.
That is definitely a dead Thrall. Nice pickup there by CE. 2 kills to 1. Good revenge after that kill that just was achieved against them in the top lane. Now Tychus has to start cleaning this up because this Impaler camp is actually getting a lot of value.
That it is. They need to send someone up there, especially with that Alexstrasza Yrel pressure. There's going to be quite some damage to be delivered, but the same can be said about the bottom, right? So they're basically, once again, trading a little bit of structural damage on the opposite sides. We see the Wolf Pack, by the way, once again for Thrall at level 4. So these Feral Spirits, they need to land, and most importantly, cannot afford to miss any or die for that matter.
Iron Fist value. Karazim adding the race potential here. Dancing, usually one of the best races for his team, actually focusing on the defense for now, while they leave the roll in bot lane for the soak. 619 dives deep onto win, but an immediate double boss stun. 619 held in the CC for a long time. 3 dives deep, and still gets taken out, but 35 armor still applied to 619. Still not enough. And the 5v3, 5v4 goes exactly how you would expect, and the team with 5 members win.
Beautiful timing there by CE. They get that kill just before the Alexstrasza Dragon Queen value was about to kick in as well. It landed on a good target on the Irel, and we once again get to see the value from a Tychus against Irels, right? We saw that in the previous series as well. Once he blasts his minigun onto Irel, there's nothing she can do, especially if you wait patiently until the Avenging Wrath was used already. Now 619 is the one in trouble, by the way, but they zone him out, and with that lead that they are already established earlier, they're going to win the halftime show.
Not a huge lead, but it's enough for CE. Their race potential is pretty reasonable. Neither team actually has an amazing race comp. So CE, they're going to be quite happy with the fact that they do finish this at the halftime show, as you did say. Blaze clearing out bot lane, Tychus soaking mid lane for a second. CE very happy to just do the slow roll here.
They're playing it patiently, with only dancing on the side of BTG currently applying a little bit of damage onto the Blue Immortal. Thrall was actually trying to get a little bit of value in the lane, but decided to do otherwise. Now the Earth ally coming through, blocking a little bit of the damage. Already so much damage onto Druid from Juyu.
Nice kill here, Zhu from the side, taking a lot of damage from the Li Ming, but it's still more than enough to tank through. Good dodge on the Arcade Orb as they kill off Yrel. They take out Diablo off to the side. Dancing is forced to back up along with Thrall, and this will be the first Immortal going over to CE.
That it will. Alufal dodging the stunning zones as well. They're not losing any DPS. I think Li Ming and Thrall aren't even trying to deal at least a little bit of extra damage onto the Immortal. The danger of getting picked off by someone like Juyu or 365 is just too big at this point. And with a mighty healthy Immortal as that first objective, CE is going to take a massive lead, not only in terms of structural damage, but incoherence there as well in terms of overall experience. Already an entire level, almost 2 level ahead. It's only going to get worse for BTG at this point.
So now, with the pressure continuing to be applied into the top lane, you have to wonder, how good is the defense from BTG? They've got Thrall without full stacks, they've got Yrel who's busy in the bot lane, and Li Ming is firing in every ability, but she's being hyper-pressured. As such, Immortal makes it all the way to the fort, still with a shield, not even into its melee mode yet. Juyu with the turnaround though, 619 trying to make a play, double stack achieved by Thrall there, almost identical timing there, as he moves forward. As we see a good dive by 619 using Wind for the escape. Wind buffet used as well. Good abundance, and they pick up the kill onto Muradin.
That they do, and I was going to say, at least for Thrall, this is going to be a really beneficial, a really good defense because he had 2 towers now fully stacked. But even for the rest of the team, you know, they lost the fort, true. They're probably going to lose some towers as well because Beyond the Game is still busy chasing their opponents down, but at least they were able to get 1 pick. But I don't think 1 pick is enough to actually justify the amount of damage taken here. Losing another tower in the secondary defense line. Still, a massive, massive win for the favorites in this series for CE. Let's see if they can keep up this momentum.
It's going to be difficult for them to keep going if they lose people like Muradin. That Muradin death, I would argue, is pretty much unnecessary. It's a little bit unfortunate to see, but either way, it's still pretty cool that they're able to try to recover this kind of... that BTG might actually be able to recover this, even from a level and a half down. All they have to do is to play a little bit safer, soak the XP, and they're not out of this yet. It is a 7-sided strike Karasim, though, which is going to do a lot of damage. Turns out when you're ahead, more damage is more valuable than the palm.
Oh, for sure. If you have played out such a tremendous lead in the early game, you want to keep up the pressure, right? And exactly in those moments where 619 gets caught from an angle from the flank, this might be a disaster, and that's where the 7-side is going to kick things to pieces, quite literally. And 619, you just can't go in from that angle. You need to take the safe rotation through the middle, through that gate, unless you fully commit and make the engage happen. But level 10 is nowhere near to be seen. With that Odin, with the mercenaries, and all the pressure from Phoenix, this might be a keep under pressure.
Shields down on the Lufal, so he backs up at least a little bit. KTY with the dive, Wind with the body block. They kill off Thrall. Here's Yrel, but salvo! Lots of damage, but not enough to actually kill anyone, but easily enough to zone out as the keep is taken. Wind dives onto Yrel. There's this charge by KTY, and 3 drops super low. Is taken out by the Fire of Blaze.
7-sided is back in 3. Is 365 going to go for it? No, he's not committing. Speaking of 365 in that Karasim, by the way, I think he's making plays left, right, and center. He always seems to find that opening, you know, on targets that are isolated, on targets that are currently weakened in the backline, and that's where Karasim excels at compared to other supports, right? If you have a low squishy in the backline on the enemy team side, you just land in those Radiant dashes, you're going to pummel them, and you're going to benefit from it. Already, pretty smart move as well. Saving that mana, trying to get it back, and taking the mercenary camp in the meantime. Maximum value coming in from CE right now.
No, it is. They are now still 2 and a bit levels ahead. This is a pretty big deal at this stage of the game, as level 10 has only just arrived for BTG. They're down a keep. They haven't even taken a fort. They've taken some towers, which is news. That's good news. As we do see with level 10 available, they see a Sundering, but we are waiting on Li Ming.
Yeah, we're waiting on Li Ming. I don't think
and
it's...
Alexstrasza.
Yeah, Alexstrasza could be Lifebinder, you know, to maybe keep individual targets alive a little more, but she goes for the Cleansing Flames. I guess that's an acceptable choice, of course. But I love the way how CE is playing this. They realize, you know what? If we just race down this Immortal right here, right now, we're going to have to go through a fort, we're going to have to go through a keep here, and it's going to take so much necessary damage. So what do? We actually pause the Immortal progress, and we're going to deal some structural damage beforehand, because what are the enemy team going to do for it? Not only are they down 2 levels, but with those structures, we're also going to turn 13, and it's going to be an easy-peasy waltz in from there.
Cleansing Flame is used to keep 619 alive. However, KTY just easily able to retreat, takes a little bit of damage, but very calm in that retreat by CE. It's like they were never under any pressure. However, only Cleansing Flame has been used. Sundering's still available. Oh, that 7-sided was gorgeous. Dragon Queen is used a disengage tool, Sundering as well, to split the team. Here comes the Purification Salvo. Very few slows once again, but it's still enough to drop Druid incredibly low, and he is sniped off by Zhuyu.
And there goes the bunker for good measure. 365 was starting to feel the pressure and the pain a little bit, but with that bunker in play, he could hop in there, save a little bit of health, and still deal damage with that Fire Flame. So yeah, beyond the game, unfortunately, they took the bait, right? They tried to make that fight happen because 13 was so close for CE, and they wanted to fight an even talents, but it did backfire yet again, unfortunately. Especially those salvos, man, from a Luful Tetra. I think they... Has there actually been a single salvo that didn't hit at least 3 members? They're just so deadly this time.
They have been, but they've actually been dropping very few slow combos. They've just been
that
sort
is
of
correct.
regular salvos, so still potential to see more.
Yeah, with that Blaze, of course, there is a lot of slowing potential. All that needs to be happening, though, is the oil spills. They need to land as well. Murden with those slows in here as well. Tychus, by the way, is going to be so hard to kill for Leeming right now. The Neo Steel coating at level 13, providing 75 spell armor. That is going to be one tanky Odin in the backline to deal with for BTG. All the works are ready, with the exception of Alexstrasza. Tetra, this is going to be keep number 2.
The keep under pressure. Half shield left on the Immortal as it gets away from the second tower. 619 goes deep, blocked away by the son of the Immortal. 7-sided is mostly dodged. Lightning Breath's a pretty good angle, actually. They're kind of ignoring Diablo. Salvo comes out, they tank through it. Here's the Odin. 619 is doomed. LOK being dove on as well. Murder not letting him escape. Dives into a tower range, actually. Wind dropping super low, and LOK is sniped by the Ragnarok missiles.
All calculated, though, if you ask me. Wind walking away with a sliver of health, though, but still, all the distraction, all the confusion had been started by him. So many resources invested by Beyond the Game to kill Murden. Here comes the stun combo for good measure, and the Alexstrasza Dragon Queen is no longer available. She gets popped to pieces as well, and after 12 minutes, in what looked like an easy-peasy cakewalk for a CE, they take down their opponents and, you know, take over the lead in this series, 1-0 over BTG.
Wow, that was neat. Well done, CE. Able to